Top 9 businesses that have great chances of surviving and thriving in a recession. The pandemic was a rough lesson for small business owners. In this video, we'll discuss all those businesses which are essentially recession-proof and can withstand financial shockwaves. Before we continue forward, I would like to request you to subscribe to the channel. Subscription is a great way of supporting our channel. It means a lot to me, and I will really appreciate you for this token of support. Alright, back to the video. 9. Groceries, essentials, and food stores. As surprising as this may sound, the food industry does not cease to function even when a recession hits. Food industries continue to thrive. A good example is the frozen dinners and coffee, which grew by 4.8% and 6% respectively. However, expecting all food sales to rise would be a bit over-optimistic, since the average food spending of the US household decreased by about 7%. This may be compensated by an average increase in spending towards frozen meals and coffee, but the trend towards buying fresh groceries decreased considerably. This could be attributed to the fact that buying fresh groceries had to be sanitized before use, which adds to the average household chores. Despite the reduction in food spending, no one can expect to completely cut down their food spending. Scientific evidence suggests that people tend to eat more when they're stressed. That is why the sales of McDonald's increased by about 30% during the 2008 economic crunch. This should be enough evidence to put the food industry in one of our top 9 recession-resistant businesses for 2023. 8. Accounting services. In the US, people need to file their taxes annually. This opportunity is equally good for business owners and hourly wage workers. Accounting provides the much-needed mental relief that you did your taxes accurately. This means that you can rest assured that the IRS will not come after you asking to pay more. This is such a great investment for business owners because they will want to hire the more efficient bookkeepers, especially when the recession hits. These businesses will need the best accountants to save them the most amount of money, which makes accountants indispensable for businesses, even when the businesses are not thriving themselves. The knowledge of tax benefits make accounting and taxation services really worth taking a look into. And no matter how profitable or unprofitable a business cycle is, the business will need to file those taxes. 7. Financial advisors and investment experts. Since the early 2000s, Wall Street has seen more financial advisors and investment experts. This is because these financial experts are in the business of making the rich richer and to keep adding to those revenue streams. Financial advisors provide the peace of mind to the 1% that their investments are safe and sound. This is why those professions gain more prominence once a recession strikes, because people will need to make sure that their investments are really safe. 6. Information technology. Information technology is perhaps one of the few professions which have continually seen an upward trend. The same thing cannot be said of most professions out there, because the supply is invariably in excess of market demand. This is not the case for IT graduates or different IT experts, such as website designers, coding experts, app developers, or even UI designers. One of the highlights of the pandemic was how most businesses successfully shifted their operations online. The technology today has allowed most businesses to thrive in a non-physical space, where customers may get first-rate customer service without ever physically entering their preferred shop. The scope of information technology is beyond measure. Every field seems to have some form of application, from medical experts to financial investors. IT is everywhere. This is what makes information technology the fastest-growing industry in the world. 5. Telecommunications. Another important highlight of the pandemic was how the telecom industry changed our lives. Communication was of vital importance now that face-to-face interactions were limited. This meant that telecommunication had to take a huge leap forward in order to meet that demand, and it did it in style. Zoom became the best alternative to almost every setting which previously demanded a face-to-face interaction. For example, classes began to be taught on Zoom. Business deals were conducted on Zoom. Not only Zoom, but other dedicated voice-over internet protocol softwares like Google Meet and Google Classroom began to implement pedagogical tools to enhance learning services. online customer service became the new hiring trend for most thriving businesses, since it was impossible to house customer service officers in office because of COVID-19 safety protocols. Telecommunications industry became a huge developing market, something which nobody saw potential for growth in previously. It has become a great alternative to traveling thousands of miles for interviews and project discussions, and most business organizations are likely to switch towards telecommunications for cutting down such costs if a recession hits the market. This makes it an excellent business, which will continue to prosper even if most other businesses are not. 4. Healthcare services and providers. Sickness is a natural human condition, and unfortunately, we came to know about it all too well during the pandemic. Suddenly, the demand for doctors and medical professionals increased many-fold. The healthcare industry is said to be beyond the shocks to conventional markets because it will never go out of demand. Yes, this does mean that all specialties within the healthcare industry continue to rise in demand by the same percentage. There will be some specialists and physicians whose demand has increased much more than the average provider. But overall, this profession is very resilient to the ebb and flow of market forces. For instance, during the market recession of 2008, the rate of increase in the nurses' employment rose by about 8%, while millions of jobs were lost. However, we also witnessed fewer surgeries due to the restrictions posed by COVID infections. This meant that surgeons had to bear the brunt of the pandemic as their demand actually decreased. 3. Car maintenance and home utility services. Repair and utility-oriented businesses continue to thrive even under the worst economic conditions because people are more likely to use their existing products after having it repaired rather than buying a new product. Even with the new DIY culture, there are repairs that are beyond the capacity of the average person. For example, many people do not know how to repair their car's engine. This requires technical knowledge that may mean the difference between using your existing car or investing thousands of dollars into buying a new car. Companies which sell car repairing or home repairing tools will also do well, since the market audience includes both the amateur maintenance guy and the expert. The utility services continue to be in demand as people tend to spend way less, especially towards buying something new. This is why the business will continue to thrive even during a recession. 2. Baby products and toys. Diapers, milk products, bottles, and other baby necessities will continue to be in demand because regardless of the economic conditions, there will always be babies. Childcare products are, for that reason, impervious to market pressures. Due to the pandemic, children were forced to stay indoors and play with their toys. This is why toys continued to be in demand regardless of the economic crisis. Especially with children locked indoors, parents would do their utmost to fulfill their children's demands. This is one important business which will continue to make profits when other businesses are barely making ends meet. And last, we have courier services. One thing which the pandemic has taught us is that packages need to be delivered on time. E-commerce took off, and with it, the demand for on-time deliveries. Courier services were perhaps the most well-positioned to take advantage of this demand. Courier services have really multiplied, now allowing for groceries and medicine to be shipped to doorsteps. Courier services can be directed to both business-to-customer as well as business-to-business markets, which means that it will remain in high demand regardless of market vulnerability. This takes us to the end of this video. Please like the video if you found this video useful. Subscribe to the channel for staying updated to the latest content. See you in the next one.